Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is the internal revolution about to start? Now, I'm recording this Monday afternoon about 5 o'clock, and by the time you watch it Tuesday morning, the internal revolution may have started. Breaking. Steel barricades are now, this is Monday, okay, as I'm recording this, as in the morning. This is a picture from this morning. Steel barricades are being uploaded outside Manhattan Criminal Courthouse, Trump indictment. Yes, they know what is coming. Now, let me remind you, the angel said to Dmitri, the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America. I'm not going to read the rest of it. I read that countless times. If you're new, pause and read it. So we know absolutely positively that there is an internal revolution coming. All right, now let's back up. Let's talk about this for a second. So what's coming? Do they know that there's about to be an internal revolution? Are they preparing for it? PJ Media says it looks like as if Trump will be arrested next week, and that's not even the worst of it. Now, by now, even Fox News has told you that Trump is saying he's going to be arrested. By the time you watch this, he may have already been arrested. Now, hold on. Before I go to the next, let me back up. Let's think this through. Okay, so we know an internal revolution is coming. We know that they're putting up fences. So let's say the first scenario is, so the guys with guns show up in Mar-a-Lago with an arrest warrant to arrest Trump. It could be that he simply puts his hands out and says, okay, I'm ready to go. Then what could happen? Well, it could be that they take him and do with him what they wanted to do for a long time. It might be that they beat him, or maybe he has a heart attack and dies, or maybe he gets just beat up on. Maybe who knows how bad they could treat him. I mean, if you go to that site that I was just talking about, they talk about how some of the J6 guys, I can't even say the whole thing, have been severely treated. And it's a lot worse than what I just said. Okay, so scenario one is he puts his hands out and takes the handcuffs. They take him into custody. They fingerprint him, photograph him. Now, this is the former president of the United States. And they're letting criminals go on our streets. And they're arresting him. This other website says, here's scenario number two, that he's not going to fight it. If they come after him, he's going to go along with it. But he also has a way to communicate to them if it's time. Time for what? Well, our interest is time for the internal revolution. I'm going to read some stuff to you here in just a second that hints that may be about to happen. Now, Stan, do you know that the internal revolution is about to start? No, I don't. I prayed about it a lot, but God sometimes chooses not to tell me things. Often chooses not to tell me things. But I ask, and I could not get an answer. I do not know if this is the internal revolution starting. Now, third scenario is they show up and they got the bad guys with guns to Mar-a-Lago, but the good guys with guns also have guns, but they also have the military behind them. And it could be that there's an internal revolution starts right there and it gets worse. It could be that there's even another fourth scenario. Let's say Trump says, okay, go ahead, put the cuffs on. He goes in. I don't know how he would tell them push a button on some kind of device or let a balloon go. I don't know. But all of a sudden, the good guys get the signal to come and get him. And how do they come and get him? I doubt it's going to be with shooting irons. I doubt it's going to be with bulldozers, bulldozing down whatever kind of barricades. What the prophecies say is it'll be tanks rolling down the street. And as you recall, I told you a couple of years ago, I went I was taking a nap in the afternoon, as old guys do. and I'd asked the Lord, okay, so what is coming? What is this? Is this really, is DJT really coming back or not? And I promise I heard words. 4 words. Massive arrests, massive arrests. We know that an internal revolution is coming. We've had several people see that many people will be arrested and DJT will be put back in charge. Now, in my timeline, I had not seen it happening this fast. But I don't know if my timeline is right. Okay, so a 4th scenario might be tanks rolling down the street. It might be that internal revolution is about to start. Do I know it is? No, I don't. But as a watchman, I'm watching for it just like you are. Now let's go on to the next point. This is on Donald Trump's Truth Social site. Our nation is now a third world and dying. The American dream is dead. The radical left anarchists have stolen our presidential, I can't even say that, and with it, the heart of our country. American patriots are being arrested and held in captivity like animals, while criminals and leftist thugs are allowed to roam the streets, killing and burning with no retribution. Millions are flooding through our open borders, many from prisons and mental institutions. Crime and inflation are destroying our way of life. Here comes an important part. Now, illegal leaks from a corrupt and highly political Manhattan District Attorney's Office, who has allowed new records to be set in violence and crime, whose leader is funded by George Soros, indicate that, with no crime being able to be proven and based on an old and fully debunked fairy tale, the far and away leading Republican candidate, former President of the United States of America, will be arrested on Tuesday. Means that by the time you watch this, he may have already been arrested. Tuesday of next week, protest. Now look at what he says. This is the important part. Protest. Take our nation back. See, on J6, he didn't say that. He said, go home. Go home, be at peace. Now, he's calling for a protest. He's calling to take our nation back. Does that sound like an internal revolution to you? Well, it does. It might. I'm saying watch. It's time. Time for what? Time for what? Okay, now hang on. I'm also about to show you something you already know about the banking crisis. You know, I really want to tell you something. But I have been advised by people in a high position, Stan, don't say it. Don't say it. So I'm not going to say it. But we are watching. Oh, I know what I can do. I can say it this way. Barry Wunsch, or was it Jason Meeks, said he saw that there was a great change in our finances, and then he saw that the suitcase nukes were released, and probably the suitcase nukes are released because of the big financial change. And instead of the bad guys kicking out the good guys, it was the good guys kicking out the bad guys. Now he says it's time. It's time for what? Is he saying it's time for an internal revolution? Let's watch. Maybe so. It's time. We are a nation in steep decline. Agreed. Being led into the World War III by a crooked politician who doesn't even know he's alive, but who is surrounded by evil and sinister people who, based on their actions, on defunding the police, destroying our military, open borders, no voter ID, inflation, raising taxes, and much, much more, can only hate our now failing America. We just can't allow this anymore. Wait a minute. What did he say? He's saying we're about to put a stop to it. He's saying they may be pulling out the tanks. See, because there was a document signed. I can't tell you the name of it. If I do, they already deleted 5 years of our work, just like that. I can't do that again. There was a document signed before DJT left, and it gave the good guys control. Let's put it that way. We just can't allow this anymore. That sounds like an internal revolution to me. They're killing our nation as we sit back and watch, and we must save America. Protest, protest, protest. That's a long ways from what he said on J6. New York law enforcement sources telling me that the Manhattan DA's office is in chaos. They're telling me about 60% of the office wants no part of this and wishes Bragg and Reese would just stop the nonsense. They all know there is no crime, and apparently all being driven by a small group of radicals at the top. Very similar to Russiagate. All of this could, I didn't say will, could lead to an internal revolution. There's more. Weaponization of the legal system. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. And either we will lose our country now or we will take it back now. That's what he's saying. Now, this ties in. Banks getting very much worse, very much faster. Okay, could it be that the time has come when the bad guys are about to get kicked out of the financial system, and this is their last-ditch effort to try to stop it by saying, we are going to go arrest your good guy, and if you don't let us continue to do our bad things. As of Saturday morning, the banking crisis is hitting a lot worse. Credit Suisse CFO teams are being called into work over the weekend to clean out their desks. This is just days after Credit Suisse received $54 billion in assistance package. Swiss regulators informed the U.S. and U.K. counterparts on Friday that the merger of the two banks is their Plan A, in hope of preventing a total loss of confidence in Credit Suisse. Shares of First Republic Bank tanked 30% Friday. The U.S., I can't even say that, literally making money out of thin air by simply adding digits to computers, which creates money in accounts. They don't have the money for that. If they try to run the printing press to cover that amount, here it is, look carefully, the dollar would collapse overnight. Foreign countries would dump all their dollar reserves. What was Shane Warren told? He said he saw dollars blowing in the wind, worthless as leaves. What was Maurice Sklar told? He was told that the dollar would fall, boom, 30%, and then boom, down to 50%, then down to zero. What was Dana Coverstone told? It would go 30%, 50 to 66, then to zero. There's several other ones. Could it be that the dollar is tied to the start of the internal revolution? Could it be that the good guys have put their fingers around the neck of the bad guys, the bad guy bankers, and they're squeezing them to the point where the bad guy bankers say, oh yeah, well, we're going to arrest your good guy. And that's our blackmail. You're going to let us go and you're going to let us do what we want to do. You're going to give us plenty of money, or we're going to arrest your good guy. Now, I tried to get God to tell me what's going on, and he refuses to tell me. But I'd love to be able to have the answer, be able to tell you, but I don't. The dollar would collapse overnight. Foreign countries would dump all of the dollar reserves, just like the prophecies have been telling us for 13 years. People would drain their accounts and go and buy hard assets. Hard assets as in gold and silver. And what happened to gold? I haven't checked today. I should have checked. But just Friday, it just whoop, gold and silver, whoop. And remember, Shane Warren heard the audible voice of God, and we're not giving you financial advice now. This is a prophecy program. Heard the audible voice of God say that silver will skyrocket far more than gold. So I think that ought to be a pretty good time for you to think about calling cornerstoneassetmetals.com. In my opinion, I'm not telling you to get it. I can't give financial advice. See, that's another thing. Laws keep you from doing saying all kinds of things. You can't just talk freely anymore. But I suggest you call them. They're good Christians. They're prophecy students. They follow Prophecy Club. And just start talking. Say, okay, hey, here's my situation. What do you recommend? As a matter of fact, they can even show you how to hold it at home, even if you're 4OK at home in your own position, and that's what you want to do if there's any way possible. Have it so you don't have it stored off in Timbuktu, Iowa someplace. Next article, very important. Russia to practice sub-launch nuclear strike against USA from submarines in the Pacific Ocean. What? Russia openly says they're going to do a practice run to attack America with nuclear weapons. It goes on to say, The commander-in-chief of the Russian Navy said tonight his government will launch salvos of missiles from submarines. What's a salvo? Well, a missile is one missile, but a salvo is... Now, we prophecy students know it is not time for... I can guarantee you, Russia is not about to attack America with Russian nuclear weapons and take us out in 1 hour. That is not ready to happen. My opinion, look at the timeline I see, we're looking at several years down the road. But I can tell you it is not going to happen this year. We've covered that, so I'm not going to get into that again. But what is it? It's Russia threatening the good guys, saying if you don't let my bad guy buddies, the bankers, do what they want to do with their money, if you don't give them lots of money, we're going to attack you. All of this is threatening DJT. We're going to arrest you. If you white hat guys don't let us bad guys do what we want to do, we're going to take you out. This is blackmail. The neutral waters, the Pacific Ocean, relatively close to the coast of the United States, equipped with imitation nuclear warheads. Well, how do we know? How would we know they're imitation nuclear warheads? Well, we'd have to let it go all the way until it just fell dead over some city and didn't explode. We wouldn't know it's imitation. Okay, so what's going on? It's blackmail. Just like the bankers are black. They're going to say, we're going to crash your financial system unless you let us do what we want to do. This will be Russia's response to the United States sending B-52s to within 10 miles of the Russian territory. In other words, the evil people in America that the only nation that could take America out in 1 hour is Russia. And we know that's what the prophecies in the Bible and the prophecies also from many prophets, Dmitri Duduman, only one, say it's going to happen. So what's it saying? It's saying that we are stirring up the Russian bear. We're making the Russian bear angry until finally we will get him to come over and destroy you. Why do they want to destroy America? Here's where your prophecy students can understand that most people don't understand. Their objective is to put their man, the Antichrist, on the throne, the Ark of the Covenant, which I had planned to talk about today, but I had to remove it tomorrow, on the Ark of the Covenant, and make him God. So that all people, great and poor, rich and free, bond, receive a mark on the right hand of the forehead, no man buy or sell save he in the mark. Now, all that sort of stuff. From the Russian Foreign Ministry, we urge the United States to think about these consequences of its increasingly aggressive actions, fraught with direct military confrontation with Russia. Russia is warning us, but you also have to understand it's blackmail. They're blackmailing us with our money. They're blackmailing us with Russia attacking us with nuclear weapons, saying, you let us do what we want to do. You let us have our blood to drink. I can't say the name. Starts with an A. You give us plenty of money. You let us control. Well, like here, we've been ruling this planet for thousands of years, and we'll destroy it rather than give it up. That's their attitude. We are going to rule you or kill you. Now, do I know an internal revolution can start Tuesday? No. But it could. So as a watchman, I'm obligated to warn you. And now, you're obligated to warn your friends, especially the ones that think this is all garbage. Even if it doesn't happen, the day is going to come when it will happen. Putin just sent the new undetectable nuclear submarine to the Arctic. In other words, they call it a black hole. It's technology that the U.S. does not have. Not only the Russians cannot track it, the Americans cannot track it. It can go anywhere it wants to, and they do not know where it is. Why do you send it to the Arctic? Because again, it's blackmail. Russia is saying, you do what the cabal wants you to do, or we'll take you out. Now, we know it's a threat, but all of this stacked up to me is screaming the internal revolution may. I said may. I do not know it's going to. I tried to get God to tell me. He wouldn't tell me. May be about to happen. Nuclear blow by Russians, Chinese, Saudis against the U.S. West. They ruined Credit Suisse that laid the foundations for the, here it is, currency of the East. First line says, even the Kremlin heard the crash of the release of Credit Suisse, the international giant of capitalism and pillar of the U.S. Western Pan Empire. In other words, the good guys are finally taking down the financial system of the bad guys. The bad guys are saying, we got nukes in the hands of Russia. We control the finances. We'll shut off your finances. You don't let us do what we want to do. It goes on to say, the end exactus. But what happened while the American and European media were propagandizing 24 hours a day the dissolution of Russia and the collapse of Russian banks, in the end, the exact opposite has happened. In other words, this came back to bite the finances in America. They opened the printing press in the USA and printed $5.9 trillion, which is 38% of all money in circulation. They increased the amount of circulation in 2 years over the world by 39%. Wow. They printed them over 2 years. That's about as much as they printed in the last 40 years. So it is self-destruction. What I want to believe is the white hats are destroying the black hats, the bankers, the banking system. And the banking system saying, we don't like it, and we're going to take you out. We're going to use the Russians to take you out. Or not, that's what's really going on here. First Republic Bank stock halted 7 times today. This is as of Monday. Now, again, I'm recording this 5 o'clock, and I haven't checked it to see if there's an update, so there may be more. Trading the stock just got halted for the 7th time. 2 weeks ago, the stock was at $130. Now it's down to $10. We are on track to make a new record for the most number of halts in a day. It appears there is no saving this bank. This is a canary in the coal mine for the banking industry. Other banks just gave $30 billion in deposits trying to keep it afloat, and it's not working. As you recall, and I don't have time to read it, Dana Coverstone had this dream talking about the canary in the coal mine. Well, apparently the canary in the coal mine is actually our finances falling apart. So it appears, at the very least, our finances across America and across the globe are about to go into darkness. That's what he says here. Here, let me back up and read part of the dream. Somebody must take the light. This is the angel speaking to Dana Coverstone. Somebody must take the light to the dark places, meaning there's about to be financial dark places to the world, okay? And there are those that will not like the light that you bring, but they can extinguish the flame that I started in your hearts, but don't let them, was what he's saying. Burn brilliantly, and with passion, fight the good fight and remain grounded in the Word, because the world is about to go dark. And that dark world will need the light you carry to reveal the way to me. Meaning, we're supposed to spread this. And that means not just spread the gospel of Jesus, but spread the warning. They need the information about the darkness. They need to understand. So he says, go and encourage the crew that is coming down the shaft and tell them that I will be working beside them, that's us, in the dark. For the last 3 months, God has had me bring very, very positive messages on Sunday morning to the Spirit of Prophecy Church, and all of them are basically saying, I am able. I will provide, I will protect, I will never leave you, I will never forsake you. Yes, you're about to go through hard times, but I will be there. So I would suggest you give a call, cornerstoneassetmetals.com, and say, okay, what do I need to do? Here's my situation. What do you suggest? You don't have to do anything right now, but the truth is you should have probably done something months ago. cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Look at, okay, so let me ask you, okay, so what happens if all of a sudden the banks close for 2 weeks? Okay, that's a big problem. I agree, it's a big problem. What if they close for 2 months? See, Coverstone and several other prophets have had dreams of lines of people bartering. In other words, there is no dollar system anymore. They're bartering, they're trading, and with gold and silver or with food, as in a loaf of bread, you have something to barter with. True, you can't eat gold and silver, but then it's probably true, too, you pull up to a gas station with a loaf of bread, and they probably won't give you any gas for a loaf of bread. Maybe they will, But I'm just saying it's good to have both of them. Joseph Kitchen for the bread. josephskitchen.com. josephskitchen.com. You want to order a machine package, and then you order the food. And, we've got video up there. Just flip back a couple of days, and you can see a video where I explain to you how to make the bread. Do something. Ask Jesus to forgive your sins and come into your heart. Let's talk about Joseph's Kitchen. I actually cooked this loaf of bread you're seeing here. Takes me about 10 minutes to put the ingredients together, put it into a bread machine, push a button, 2 hours, 20 minutes later, I get a loaf of bread out like that. Now, if you cut that loaf of bread that weighs about 3 pounds, the loaves you get in the store have most of the good stuff removed. The loaves you get in the store are about 1 pound. That's 3 pounds because it's got the good stuff still in it. Cut that into 14 slices, and if I eat a slice in the morning and the afternoon, I'm satisfied. So on that basis, one loaf can sustain, I didn't say it's everything we want, can sustain one person for a week. Based upon that, it'll get you excellent nutrition. It tastes good, long storage life, 10 minutes to combine the ingredients, 2 hours, 20 minutes to make it. Other wheat that you order arrives in paper bags, which means bugs, rice, humidity can get a hold of it and ruin it. But at Joseph's Kitchen, they send it out in 100 mil thick buckets. Gives you long shelf life. It's stackable. It's nitrogen infuses that hopefully gives it much longer shelf life, kills bugs and things like that. Easily resealable, keep in a climate-controlled area. And they have it in stock. This is an actual picture of part of the warehouse. Here's another picture of these. Actually, each one of those boxes holds 2,500 pounds of wheat. And I think they've got 54 of those boxes, a bunch of them. So Joseph's Kitchen can ship it to you right now. You go to most of these places, they say out of stock. So here's what you want to do. Everybody needs to get a machine package. These are the things that you need to grind the wheat berries. Put them into a grinder. 30 seconds later, you have flour. You put that into the bread machine along with 6 other ingredients. Push about 2 hours, 20 minutes later, you have a nice hot loaf of whole wheat bread. Then you have to decide how much food you want. You want food 2 people 1 year, 4 people 1 year, 6 people 1 year. And if you want to make certain you have it when the electricity goes down, you can also get yourself a solar generator, all at josephskitchen.com. josephskitchen.com. Okay, Terry Saka, Cornerstone, assetmetals.com. Why should people be calling Cornerstone today?
I was actually watching an interview with a very powerful psychoanalyst, and he brought up Dmitry Duduman, and I was very impressed. I was like, Dmitry Duduman, that's one of Stan's main guy in prophecy. He was talking about cycles of market crashes and financial realignments. In the next 45 days, we are looking at such a severe possibility of a 40 to 50% market correction by design. And that will lead to an extraordinary opportunity to take advantage of gold and silver while it's at these low prices.
All right. So in your opinion, is it better that they get gold or silver?
Silver is very undervalued. The banks have to get out of the short position. So I think they're going to take it to this low as it is now. And that would be your best opportunity for return on investment, and definitely the easiest to unload when the time comes.
Okay. So how does it work? They go to cornerstoneassetmetals.com, and eventually, they're going to make a phone call, and they're going to set up an account, and then the money trades hands. How does that work?
Yeah, so they either register on our website or they give us a call. We'll walk them through their options. Once we have cleared monies into the account, we can actually get the product in line for shipment, depending on what you order. It could take anywhere from 7 days to 6 weeks, depending on what it is. But once you actually lock in that order, it is owned and it will eventually be there.
Now, what if they want to buy a whole bunch of it, but they don't have a place that they really want to store it? Can you store it for them?
Oh, that's a big one. We have a lot of clients that they go upwards to 7 figures, and it's obviously better to have 40,000 ounces in a private depository than it is at home. And so we find a lot of people do store in a private depository. It's independent, so it's not related to any part of the banking system. But the important part is when it's there, you can buy and sell it very easy. And because Cornerstone also has an affiliated account at that depository, we can literally transfer the assets right into our account and wire funds to you fairly quick.
Okay, so it's not actually physically held in Switzerland, is it?
I would never be holding anything in Switzerland. I think that's the epicenter of Satanism, right?
Okay, so it's Terry Saka at cornerstoneassetmetals.com, cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Go there, check it out today. Next is I'll send you to empshield.com. If you use the promo word prophecy, you get a $50 discount. What is that? Well, it looks like this. This is the one that goes into a car, okay? And you put the red wire to the red side of the battery, you put the black wire to the black side of the battery, and the green one attaches to the body of the car. Then you peel it off right back here. Just peel that off, stick it inside of the engine compartment of your car. And the whole point is when the electricity goes off or when some kind of a suitcase nuclear device goes off, this is supposed to be able to stop that device from destroying every computer chip in your car. Because if every computer chip is destroyed in your car these days, you couldn't possibly replace them all. Throw the car away. So, empshield.com, promo code prophecy.